The king. The king of kings. On your knees, dog.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. Lee Honish, joined by Andrew Labuschagne and Fight Fiend. That's what you put on the screen.
I had to put Fight Fiend Migs. Damn it.
No, there was no M.
Are you sure?
Henceforth, you will just be the double F. Double F-er. Miguel Antonio Barragan, also known in our circle because of how we communicate, the double F-er. Are you good to go at your age for a double F-er still? Can you pull off a
yes.
double F-er?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Wow, that must be nice. Remember when we could do that, Andrew?
Speak for yourself, Lee.
Oh,
Wow. It's too early. It's too early for this BS. Come on now.
Go to Boxing Tonight. That's what they expect right out of the gate.
Yeah.
For the record, this is a pretty straight show. However, I wrote one joke. Be prepared. I wrote one joke for this show. I'm just saying it in advance. One show joke. Go to boxingtonight.io. That's boxingtonight.io. You can watch video, how we actually view this. In a couple of weeks, we'll start. I think I'm going to get a streaming service so that when we do this live, which isn't consistently at 8:30, but most of the time it is on Sunday mornings, we will be able to stream it out all over the web simultaneously on 8 different platforms. So I'm hoping, I haven't tested it yet. It's a brand new streaming service that's out there, but they claim that we can stream live on 8 platforms simultaneously.
Oh, fancy.
That's cool. That means we're just doing our show like we normally do, and we always do it in one take, by the way. If you listen to the audio, you hear everything. If you watch the video, I do clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to try to make that happen over the next couple of weeks and look at that service for all of you. For those that are up at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday, I suppose. So go to boxingtonight.io, click like, subscribe. Facebook is our semi-permanent always home. We always seem to be here for one reason or another. And this is a page that we update pretty consistently. Boxing Tonight has boxing schedules, ways to listen to the show, ways to watch the show, and the boxing schedule itself. But Fight Net Radio is where we keep up to date with different stories that we all keep track of. Follow both Fight Fiend Migs and myself. That's at Fight Fiend Migs and at Lee Honish. You can find us both right here. All right, all the business is out of the way. We're going to jump into this because we have more to talk about that happened. There are like 4 stories, and then it's all coverage of fights. A lot of boxing, Miguel. I don't know how you do it every Saturday where you like sit there all day and just watch.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a life.
More diehard than either of us.
I thought we already discussed this. I don't have a life. It's like, all right, turn on boxing. That's my Saturdays. If anybody I date, I'm like, no. Saturdays are always fights. Y'all know this. Like, okay.
And well, this was the first time where I actually whipped that one out, where I'm like, no, I'm watching boxing from about 11:30. Not only that, I was showing the guys how I did it, and I'll show you guys later on. I did a few screenshots. I think for the early round, once the baseball, there was an overlap, but at one point there were 4 or 5 screens up on my monitor. I mean, it was pretty heavy. What I can't understand is, how do you pick the sound you want to listen to when you're doing multiple fights? That's the hard part for me. So I guess the bigger fight gets the sound. Baseball game doesn't need sound. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing last night. So let's jump into the news, shall we? And we will start off with the Bob father, who had a big evening last night. We will talk about that shortly. But Bob, clear my throat, because clearly Bob's going to join us. Bob Arum is quoted as saying, "To surpass Mayweather's career takes a lot, but I think Shakur has the ability." Let's see what Bob has to say. Joining us from his blimp, Top Rank Bob. Bob, how is it on the blimp? See, it was at this point that I wanted a sound effect of it in the background while I did the Bob thing. However, Not going to happen. I can't do multiple sounds out of my voice. Otherwise, I'd be on the strip. Talent-wise, he's magnificent. That's a long step. You have to give Floyd credit. He had a tremendous career. To surpass Mayweather would take a lot. Now I think Shakur has the ability. Whether he wants to work as hard as Floyd did, both marketing himself and fighting is up to Shakur. Bob, how is the blimp? I'm almost to Australia. The fights are already over. What do you mean? Well, do you know that about the Michaela thing? What do you mean? Okay, Bob, we'll check back with how far out are you at this point? According to the pilot, we will be there in 36 days. Okay, Bob, we'll get back to you shortly. I start with you, Andrew. Does Shakur have the talent to be Floyd Mayweather?
Does he have the talent? Oh no, I don't think that. It's not just. I mean, he's a good fighter, but it's not just talent that made Floyd who he was. It was being able to stay the champion for as long as he did, go multiple divisions, win titles. So that's all I can't predict that for Stevenson. He does have a great path in front of him to become a legendary fighter. A lot of these lightweights do that are smaller, younger, and going to be moving up in weight. So he definitely has the path to greatness. But will he be the next Floyd at 50-0? I'm not calling that right now.
Okay, so here's the follow-up question to it. Why does Bob slob his knob so much? Has he done something in the ring that I'm missing?
Pacquiao is the next Ali. This kid's the next Floyd. It's just a promoter doing his job. I don't know. Bob will have something else to say next week. Some Puerto Rican will be the new Miguel Cotto. So it's just him doing his job.
I'm sure he will. Hopefully he won't have an Alzheimer's moment and go, he's the next Felix Verdejo. He will do a double homicide before the end of the year. I predict it. By the way, Felix, we're never going to let you off the hook. I turn to you, Miguel. 1, could he? 2, why? Again, he's being brought up so ridiculously slow. Good God.
Well, I mean, he's at a good age, he's a young cat still, so it's not like it's that slow. He did, just beat like the best in the divisions in his most recent fights, I should say. And he's going to move up to 135. That's going to be something that's pretty major. But we kind of touched on this last week with we're talking about Canelo and I forgot who. I think it was Andre Ward talking about Canelo fighting people in their prime and whatnot. I think there's only so many fighters out there that are like Hall of Fame worthy. Like what he's talking about here is enough to surpass Mayweather's career takes a lot. That's because Floyd beat a lot of fucking people. He beat like superstar Hall of Famers like Miguel Cotto and Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao, and he beat Ricky Hatton. He beat all these fucking people, and Dale Corrales and all this shit. Like I think that was a very, very unique and special time in boxing, and fucking Floyd was born at the right spot and beat all the right motherfuckers. I don't think there are anywhere near as many of those kind of guys now, let alone later on when Shakur gets to that stage in his career, because he will get there. Trust me, he will get there. Like I do definitely believe this dude has the talent-wise. It's just that unfortunately, you're gonna have to have your villain, right? Every fucking superhero needs their villain. You need the Muhammad Ali, needed the Foremans, and needed the Frasers. He's not gonna. I don't know if he's gonna have his whatever counterpart or whatever, however many Hall of Famers or potential Hall of Famers out there for him to fight. For him to really like claim that stake into his legacy. I don't think there are that many out there, so I don't think he's going to surpass him. And then to add to what Andrew was saying, is he going to even get to 50? Right now it's a little too early to tell. He definitely has the potential to do it, but if he does get there, I don't think it's not going to be anywhere near as with naming of names as Floyd's career has or his resume has.
All right, moving forward. Tyson Fury is now moving towards Derek Chisora, saying the trilogy is alive and well. For those of you who don't know or are not following the Tyson Fury saga, a couple of weeks ago he was fighting Anthony Joshua. A few weeks ago he was fighting Usyk and Joshua on the same night. Then just Usyk, then just Joshua. Now he's down to Derek Chisora. So let's talk about this. Miguel, what the F is going on here?
Well, what's his name? I live in Vegas, and I do go to a specific boxing gym here. It's Capetillo's gym, and for everybody who knows who he is in Tyson Fury's corner, and frequently is his cut man. So I saw him the other day, and at the gym, and I was like, "Hey, man, really? So is Tyson fighting fucking Chisora now?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, AJ didn't want anything. That motherfucker was scared. And I was like, "Oh, really? Interesting." So I was like, all right, well, that's definitely an interesting perspective. I don't know if that's necessarily the truth or not, but obviously that's going to be their point of view. This another one of those, as we mentioned before, one of those examples of a countryman giving the other countryman a nice little payday. Like, all right, you have the ability to give you a payday, go off into the sunset, which it looked like he was trying to do with AJ. So I don't know. This is this even? This better not be a fucking pay-per-view. This better be on like ESPN Plus or people. There's no fucking way I'm paid for this shit if this thing's on pay-per-view. So I'm hoping that it doesn't go down, period, and we do get a better fight out of Fury. But if it ends up being Chisora, this should better be fucking free, man.
Andrew.
Look, it's better that AJ moved away from this fight. I like AJ trying to rebuild his career with Garcia, and then coming back later if he can get a title shot. He's young enough to do that. So I'm not mad that they moved on with this one. I think we talked a few weeks ago about Tyson Fury being all over the place. No one can seem to control this guy right now. I've heard still about him possibly facing some legal issues with that whole MTK thing that went down, or the boss that got busted that was dealing with them. So I don't know where Tyson Fury is right now, as far as mentally and professionally, and where he's going to go. Just seems like he's got really no plan. He's just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. I believe this is the second time. Did you just say that, Miguel? This is the second time they went to the Chisora fight, correct?
I'm not sure. I mean, this is the third time they'll be fighting, but I don't know.
It'll be the third time they're fighting for sure.
Third time they're fighting, but I believe he has already announced a Chisora. He already had a contract on the table, said you need to sign it by this date or I'm moving on. If we look that up, I believe this is we already went down this path. Yeah. So it's just weird where I don't know what Tyson's doing right now. I thought it was set up for him and Usyk to have the biggest heavyweight showdown over there in the UK, but looks like someone's being greedy. They want to milk the cow just one more time before they go to the big unification. I don't get it.
Well, it's funny you say that, Andrew. Usyk's manager insists Fury is still top priority. We're interested only in the unification. Nice job. Good segue.
That's you.
That's right. We're interested only in a unification at this point to unify Fury. That was his big comment. Wow. Great job, Sean, with that quote.
Say it one more.
By the way, he lifted it from the web off of one of Ellie's videos to make this article. Ooh, solid writing. I'm sure it was worth the what do you think they're making these days? $30 an article, maybe $20 with $20-30 an article. Wow, that's your quote. All right. Theoretically, Andrew, it's still a top priority to Usyk. I think for Usyk's legacy, he has to fight Tyson Fury before he does something crazy like go back down and clean out. He's talking about going back to cruiserweight and clearing that division out, or maybe I'll drop weight even more and go down to light heavyweight and clear that division out. But he needs all the belts before he leaves this division, period.
He's kind of old, right? Isn't he past 35? Usyk is in his upper 30s now. And maybe he just wants to get the big fight to happen so he doesn't lose these titles or lose the opportunity. Maybe Tyson Fury isn't there to make, to get this fight started if they wait one more time. So we've seen, once again, talked about it. Tyson Fury's been dropped 4 times in his last 3 fights or so with the Deontay Wilder. So he's been dropped too. He's been cut. It's not a guarantee that he's there. And he's in his 30s also. So I don't know what the wait is for. It seems like they're ready to make that fight. I don't know why. I'm with Miguel. I'm not paying for a Chisora fight. I might not even watch it, guys. Seriously, if there's something else going on that Saturday, that's a fight that will be recorded, and I'll come home and watch it. And it better not be a 12-round decision that I see on my phone, or I'm not even watching it. So that's how much interest I have in that fight. Shout out to ESPN. I know we're going to talk about it later, but shout out to ESPN for putting the pressure on the men last night in the women's telecast with the boxing event.
Absolutely. Miguel. Alexander Usyk.
I mean,
Are people just afraid of him?
No. I mean, if people are afraid of him, maybe, but not Fury. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else, yeah, probably, but no, definitely, absolutely not Fury. I like the tone. You know, we're only interested in this. That sounds like, you know, they have their head on straight, and you know, for the sake of the fans, you know, this is something that we all want to see. Of course, we want to see this type of fight. The winners fight the winners, the best fight the best. Which we will absolutely not get with Fury and Chisora. But if and here's the thing. I mean, you know. Andrew said Fury's been knocked down several times in his last few fights, right? His fights with Fury. I'm sorry, with Fury, with Wilder, and he's been fighting top dudes, right? I mean, at least in the sense of Wilder, but I can kind of forgive these kind of like fights every so often. It's like, all right, you need to give me a fight. All right. At this point in his career, I'm not really sure if he should be having these kind of fights, you know, like if you're coming up, or if you're like, you know, maybe first time champion or whatever, and like your first title defense, you find some mandatory motherfucker who nobody knows. Okay, fine. You know, I'll give those the breaks, but like he's, you know, the champ. Like you shouldn't really be fighting those kind of like fights anymore. Really, it smells of, or it should say, it's a stench of desperation. It pisses me off that these fights haven't been able to get made. I don't know what the holdup is, but yeah, at this point, I like the tone of this though. Like the fact that they, at the very least, on Usyk's side, are saying no, we're totally interested in getting this fucking fight with Fury, and that's their priority. All right, cool. Now, you know, put pen to paper and let's make it fucking happen. But yeah, if it's if it's Chisora again, good lord, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do then.
You'll watch it and take
probably,
it.
but
like
I mean,
a boxing fan.
like a boxing fan, I take one
like a boxing fan, you'll take it.
Well, ratings are starting to say otherwise, but yeah, we can keep throwing that out there, but it really seems like boxing's going in the opposite direction.
We'll talk about that a little bit, because I paid attention to who was selling tickets and who wasn't this past weekend, and I have stuff on that. My favorite story of the day, Showtime had Steven Espinosa. Remember him? Says Spence Crawford talks plagued with misinformation. The fight is still on track. All right, I'm already excited. First of all, where did Sean get his quotes this time? I almost feel like... did he talk to him direct? Well, they work for the same company. He probably has access to him. But the reality is that all things reports take a life of their own. Oh, Fight Hub TV. Wow. Once again, good job, Sean. You're just sitting around watching other people's videos. And shout out to Sean, who listens to the show. The reality is, I don't even know how the November 19th date got out there. All of a sudden, it was written in stone. The reality is there have been a lot of dates that we talked about. November 19th is one of them. I'm anxious as anybody else as a fan to get this done. All right, let's just stop there before I read more quotes, because clearly we need to dine on every word of Espinosa's insanity. Does anybody think that he's actually a fan? Andrew, is he really a fan, or just a greedy blood-sucking leech?
He's a fan of what they're doing over at Showtime. I don't know if Espinosa, sits down on a Saturday and checks out all the other boxing events going on in the world. No, sir.
Miguel?
I think he's a fan to a certain degree. When there are potential fighters out there and fights that he sees.
This is the man who is giving us Paul versus
Right,
This
right.
is
Well, this is exactly what I was getting at. When it involves, how much money he can make into his pocket, he's a fan of it. So he'll watch. He'll watch if it's in
He's a fan
general.
of it.
No, absolutely not. He isn't going to enjoy some boxing just because for the sake of enjoying boxing. It's like, okay, this guy could be a potential future opponent for Jake Paul or whatever. All right, I'm gonna watch. But he's
So-
a fan of that.
based on that math. If Deontay Wilder fought a hippo, and it was a pay-per-view that made Espinosa and Showtime money,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be a fan of that.
Absolutely, he would be
Okay.
fucking front row. We'll see them in the ring, like
Front
near the
row.
ring.
There's two more anxious people than me. That's Errol and Terrence. All right, I question this. Geez, this story gets better and better. Maybe I should find this video. By a vote, yay or nay, you think they're anxious, Andrew, or they just want to move on and go find easier fights?
Well, because everybody keeps saying that we all have it wrong and the negotiations are still on, maybe they're trying to push this thing into 2023. So they're going to string out these negotiations until the winter, announce it then to set up a date. Maybe both fighters agreed they didn't want to fight this year. So that's about all I got. Besides that, to me, the fight is on the table, and there's someone who's not willing to sign because of financial. And what it sounds like is it's on the Crawford side,
Not
right? That's what they
true.
told.
They want to get this done as quick as anyone, Andrew.
Oh, I know. No, I listen. It would have been done. When there's a will, there's a way. If you have two fighters that are willing to face each other, it is not hard to make a deal. We know that about boxing. When they're
Wrong
really,
again, Andrew. He
No.
says the reality is it's complex.
yeah, no, it's not when both guys are willing, right?
True.
So it's not really complex at all. It could they would have agreed to money. They would have said, hey, I love the James Toney Roy Jones one. They took fucking the winner takes all. They took a flat fee, and then like the guy who won the fight took the majority of the pay-per-view. And that's
What a
real
flat
prize
fee
fighting,
at
man.
that fee.
Yeah, it's incentivized. It's incentivized. That's exactly how it should be.
That's
And
what
once
boxing
again-
used to be.
Once again, all of you guys got called out last night by ESPN. That was hella funny. They especially called out Spence and Crawford on how long we have been waiting for this fight to happen. It's a joke. Right now, it's a joke. Both of these men are in their 30s now. It's a joke.
Miguel, this is directly to you from Steven Espinosa. I caution you, Miguel. People along the way don't believe people trying to make headlines, trying to give you a piece of a story, pointing fingers at this side and that side. It's done. It's not done. It's almost done. It's silly. So you need to stop that, Fight Fiend Migs.
I feel so cautioned. Oh my gosh. Let's remind
So full
people
of
that
shit.
let's remind people that Crawford last fought in November of 2021,
Yeah, I
and-
was going to
and-
bring that one up.
and Spence was in April of this year. There's no reason this fight should not have happened this year. Like there was plenty of fucking time for the guys to come to a damn agreement and make that fight happen. The potential of them waiting, or the theory of them potentially waiting until 2023 sucks if that is actually true. But there really is no fucking reason that the fight should not have already happened. There was plenty of time for these guys to prep. These guys could have gone on fucking vacations and come back, and the fight still could have been made by the end of the year. The fact that it hasn't already, it's the same old roller coaster, same old shit. Change the record already because we're hearing the same stuff over and over again.
Because there is no backup plan. There is no plan
It
B,
appears
C,
that there
or
isn't, huh?
D.
Yeah.
Both fighters have. Well, I mean, there are other fighters who have stepped up and said that they'd like to be plan B, C, or D. I was actually going to do a joke last week about our weekly update from one fighter who claims that he's got a deal with either party. And then finally last week he said, well, I'm available if needed. All right. Is that enough of Spence Crawford? So basically my takeaway from all of this, Andrew, there's no fight, there's no signatures. And I actually think Coppinger is full of shit and just makes up headlines at this point.
Yeah, well, wait, Lee. 2 months ago, they said they're working on the undercard already. So obviously, the fight's
It
already
probably came
signed.
from Mike Coppinger as well.
They're just waiting for a day to announce it, man. I have
Yeah.
the faith.
And if we're plagued by misinformation, it's because what is being presented to us. It is
Yeah,
people who
I
are
am.
like, it's not like we had inside scoop and we're just spreading the word of this fake shit. It's like, no, it's like these Coppingers and Espinoza and everybody fucking else that tells us one thing and then shit goes the other direction. It's like, all right, well, clearly either you were fucking lying or then negotiations fell through. But it's like, if we gonna, you can't blame us trying to caution us like, oh guys, there's a lot of misinformation. Okay, that ain't our fucking fault. We're just listening to what we're being told.
Some of it, Miguel, comes from the website that Mr. Al Heyman owns himself, boxingscene.com. So what the fuck? If they're not playing us, what what is it then?
For those of you not watching the video, trust me, I use the Boxing Scene website for our stories, just for my personal amusement. Jose Pedraza has been chosen over Sandor Martin, which sounds more like a magician. Sandor. For Teofimo's next opponent on October 10th. I'll start with you, Miguel. All right, Pedraza's kind of a step up from Sandor. But am I ever going to see Teofimo fight someone for real ever again?
We will. I mean, there's too many good people at 140 for him not to. I'm not sure if there is even, because I mean, keep in mind that I think Josh Taylor relinquished one of his belts, maybe two, but I think just one of his belts, right? So there's one belt floating around somewhere, and that he might. Teofimo might get a shot at some point, but let's not forget that Sandor Martin is the guy who beat Mikey Garcia a couple of fights ago. So if that name sounds familiar, that's who he is. But it definitely is a step up. Pedraza, because I mean, Pedraza's dope, man. He's good. Yeah, he's got some losses on his records, but they're against top dudes, and the guy's a slick fucking boxer. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a southpaw, right? So that's not gonna be like an easy task. It's gonna be substantially easier than his last opponent, which I think was Campa, right? Jorge Campa, I think it was. So yes, it's definitely a step up. A way better competition at 140. I'm actually pretty excited about this one because not only is Pedraza an excellent fighter, but he's he's somewhat of a recognizable name. It's like, oh shit, Pedraza, fuck yeah, that's gonna be good. So I'm down for this one. I'm glad this fight took place over, or could potentially take place over Sandor Martin, because yeah, I mean, not many people even know who the hell Sandor Martin is. They might remember him from his victory over Mikey Garcia recently, but other than that, they're like, well, what the fuck else has he done? Who the hell is he? And it's going to be another one of those keep me busy fights for Teofimo. Pedraza is nowhere near that league. So, granted, Pedraza's up there in age as well, but I mean, still, he's got enough gas in the tank to give Teofimo a good fight.
Andrew, Teofimo pictured here, pointing at the size of his penis and smiling about it. This is why you guys should watch the video. Occasionally I slide in just video only jokes. All right. He's a bitch, Andrew, and I'm going to tell you why. Why you wouldn't do the Lomachenko thing again for money. Why you wouldn't do the Josh Taylor thing again for money. And now you're fighting, no disrespect to Pedraza. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. This guy should be doing nothing but great fights. He should be in Oscar De La Hoya mode, just taking everybody at the top of the top. You're there. Going backwards does not. This is like Felix Strum tragedy written all over it in my mind. You're going to get somebody who's just going to be a little more hungry than him. Teofimo doesn't want to be in high stress situations.
Hey, look, if Teofimo can't beat Pedraza, he doesn't deserve the Josh Taylor fight. Okay, Pedraza's a good fighter. I agree with everything Miguel said. But if Lopez, who was pound for pound not too long ago, is still in his prime and still on the rise, then he should get through Pedraza, no problem, and we move on to a Josh Taylor or a bigger fight. I have no beef or any questions about why they're doing this fight. He's in a new division. He's a young kid coming off a huge defeat, coming off of whatever meltdown that he had mentally. Pedraza, like Miguel said, is a great name. That's a great name in the junior welterweight division. He's a gatekeeper of that division. He will test Lopez early, but at the end, Lopez, because of his age and the fact that he's better, just a better all-around fighter on paper, right? He was pound for pound. Pedraza's never been close to that. He should win this fight. So yeah, I like it. I hope it's on ESPN. I hope we're not paying for this fight. But if it is on ESPN, this is a decent step up for Teofimo Lopez right now.
There you go. We are at the marker before we get into fights. That's all the news, by the way. You should be happy I found that much news, everyone. Most everything this week was the reporters trying to get quotes from the 700 people who fought on Saturday. That might sound like an exaggeration, but between all of the cards, there's a lot of boxing happening on Saturday, and we're going to start covering it here in just a second. Give ourselves a nice, big, fat chunk of time to do it. However, go to boxingtonight.io. There you can get our one-of-a-kind unique news feed that actually uses mainstream news publications, not people paid by, CBS, Showtime, and or the PBC to create stories like Boxing Scene. Yeah, so we've got it's a really interesting news feed. It's one of a kind in our sport. Of course, multiple ways to get and watch Fight Net Radio, and of course, the boxing schedule itself. Let's check Andrew's caffeine level. Hey, Andrew, I've got good news as a Raider fan. We're not going to lose this week.
Yes, Lee, I hear you.
The caffeine is clearly not kicked in on.
Yeah, it's not kicked in. I don't know what to say about the Raiders right now. We're going into a bye week. It doesn't look good.
You can't lose in a bye week. That's the good news.
Adams has to be hating Renfro right now. Not only has Renfro cost Adams 2 wins this season, he also is the guy that rented that Uber. Remember when they all got stuck in that Uber and Adams was the only one that did not look happy? Well, it was Renfro who rented that car. So he's just been on a bad vibe with Adams ever since he got here. And unfortunately, we paid Renfro like $25 million or something, made him one of the highest, I believe, slot receivers in the league. So I don't see us getting rid of him. There's no other team that's going to take the highest receiver when he's fumbling, running into the star. You ran into the star. Hey, fuckface. There's one guy you should not be hitting on the field. And that's Devontae Adams in the last play of the game. How that happened, I don't understand. Just like the week, 2 weeks before that, 2 fumbles in a row. I get it, concussion on the second fumble, but just some bad luck for Renfro right now. He really needs to tighten up his game here. Look, we're at the mercy of the NFL, Lee. Yeah, teams have done it before, blah, blah. I know Tim Brown tweeted out, we've done it before. Tim Brown was a Raider for like 20 fucking years. He's talking about one season. Miguel, that one time, you were a Raider for 20 years, and you want us to remember that one season that we lost 4 and came back and went to the playoffs? Whatever. We know what this story is. We have to win like every game here on out, at least for, 6 weeks or so. And everyone else has to lose or we're never going to catch up. So whatever.
Fight Net Radio fans, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know exactly how to get Andrew started before we get to
the listen. All right, Lee,
show. There we
hold
go.
on. Give me one more.
Yeah, all the time you need, bro.
Listen. Okay. At the very beginning when that meltdown happened, Lee, fire. Oh, first off, see, now you got me started. First off, me and Junior, we had a great first half, Lee. Oh, we're high-fiving. We're dancing. The fucking Raiders are winning. Hey, halftime comes. I see him sneak off to his brother and sister's room. They start playing. The game came back on. Boom, they scored 7 points, made it, 17-20 or something. Right after halftime, they came right back. I didn't call him back, Lee. I didn't call him back. I already knew I knew what was going to happen. I let him be happy. He came back at the end of the game, was like, we lost that. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just go back to your room. Go play. He never felt the pain. Fuck that. We ended a win that night for him. Moving on to what the real problem is with the Raiders. Listen, Raider Nation, I swear to God, I've never been this guy with L. Davis, but I am with Mark. If you want this organization to change, you got to boycott this fucking team. If you want the organization to change, you got to sign a fucking petition that send it into the Raiders' other ownerships, because Mark isn't the only one, and you got to get this fucker fired. Look, ever since he came into office, he's been nothing but a dipshit.
The Carson Palmer trade, dipshit move. The trading of Khalil Mack, dipshit move. The fucking putting 3 draft picks, the future of the Las Vegas Raiders in the hands of a coach that had only produced 1 Pro Bowler and 111 motherfucking draft picks, and a GM that had never drafted anybody in his fucking life. He put the fucking future in their hands. Their 3 number 1 picks that was supposed to change our fucking franchise were gone in 2 years. One is facing fucking 20 years in prison, and the other guy is getting arrested for pulling out guns, for saying he's going to shoot people. The characters that these 2 guys brought in, the lineman, they said he was crying in the fucking locker room, Lee. Crying. He didn't want to play football. How the fuck these 2 picked him? You got to look at the head. And then you got to look at Mark. And then the fucking signing of this year's coach, McDaniels. You know, everyone, oh, he worked with Brady. He worked with Belichick. You know what? What is his record as a fucking coach, as a leader? Miguel, he's a loser. I got to tell you, when you have done nothing but lose for 30 fucking years, do you really want to put your organization in the hands of a man with a losing fucking record? And we sit 1-4. The problem with the Las Vegas, pledge to my Oakland Raiders, love you guys. The Las Vegas Raiders is a fucking CEO. They got to get rid of that guy. We need a San Francisco Giants and a Golden State Warriors like change, and that starts at the ownership.
For those of you who don't get how great that segment was, Miguel doesn't even watch football. That
deserved a horn.
Bam, 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 bam. Well, I was thinking of Michael Douglas in Falling Down. Like, Andrew could really be the guy who just one day sees one too many Raider snafus and gets a gun and a briefcase and just starts walking across to Oakland. I just wanted a cheeseburger, and blows away the person at the cash register. But if you rewind the entire story, it all started to one too many stupid Raider losses for Andrew, and that's where he snapped.
Miguel, I was the kid that used to cut out the news clippings of the yards that were penalized against the Raiders and weren't. Yeah, I was that guy.
Did you have them pinned up on your wall like it was some sort of conspiracy or something?
I had them in a binder. I had them in a
Close enough. Now that's crazy
like,
enough.
How can you go 3 weeks and only have 1 call against your team? How? It's right here.
All right. Well, let's put this into play. If Junior was doing that and making guns out of soap, allegedly, would you step in at that point going, what are you up to, boy?
Yeah, partner, what's going on?
Partner, what's we got going in here?
Talk to me. What's happening?
Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me. Woo! On a brighter note, Padres finally beat the Dodgers. Yay! Jeez, they made it to the final elimination. They'll probably lose the next round because that's what the Padres do. But I digress. All right, moving forward, let's talk about. Yes, warning. Here's the one joke I wrote for today. Well, I made a collage from the fights that I started to. I made a collage. And I have a full report because I watched everything that was televised, even stupid YouTube PBC pre-fight that didn't have announcers. They just turn it on YouTube with like a live cam, and you just sit there staring at a screen where nothing happens, and then people walk out to the ring and fight and leave. There's no announcing or anything. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire life, to the PBC live stream for people who want to watch the undercard. I guess.
They want to make it seem as though you're in the arena, because in the arena you hear no commentating. So they want.
Well, that's true. No, same thing for pro wrestling. Pro wrestling, when you go see it live, not quite the same. You kind of need that voice. Same. Here's a new one. I'm a big fan of Gas Monkey Garage, Fast and Loud from Discovery. They just installed a live cam, right? And they use that parking, and it shoots directly on their parking lot during business hours all week long. Not the same. Not the same. Watching donuts without the sound, not the same. Just thought I'd throw it out there. All right, so this is the first fight. And in the first fight, by the way, this would be the video portion for the people listening to audio. you might want to go and watch my complete collage report. In the first fight, a girl wore a nightgown, and the girl with the white top had the better nipples. That's all I got out of it. The girl in the white top won, by the way. I know you guys weren't in that early, but I was. This is literally nightgown material underneath here. It was very interesting to me. Ooh, wrong direction. We don't need to see. All right. As you can see, it's kind of flowy and vented. It's very interesting to me.
They look like curtains almost.
They were, but it definitely had that. And by the way, first time I actually saw an actual kind of dress being worn to the ring. This was a very popular trend, fashion-wise. But white top person, the chick from Great Britain, man, by the second round, she had worked up enough sweat that her nipples were popping out of her sports bra top, and that was exciting to me. So that's my report of whoever these two people are that we're never going to see box ever again. Oh, and rating it on who is the hotter of the two, or which one would I recommend for Miguel to double effer? It's definitely the French chick with the nightgown. No doubt. No doubt. This is the second fight with the girl in the purple top. I tried to get a good nipple shot here. It just doesn't really come across. She fought a dyke. That's this one over here in the black. And the girl in the purple won, and the dyke lost. There you go. That was my report of the second fight. But trust me, the one in black was definitely, wow, she is again, I understand transgender people wanting to compete in female sports. I think this fight should be put up on a pedestal because, to my knowledge, I think it's the first time a legitimate female beat a legitimate man in a sport like this. So, I'm glad to see that the fight was progressive. This is a picture of me checking out tickets for the Deontay Wilder fight during. Okay, so I'm literally monitoring the ticket sales in New York while I'm watching the card. Now, the girls sold out the O2. Okay, they did. Good on them, right? As you could see, they only made available the lower bowl for the Deontay Wilder fight. And as you can see, this is about an hour before they stopped selling tickets, basically. There are plenty of seats for this fight. God forbid that they had opened up the upper deck, which they blacked off for the fight. But just so you know, women sold more tickets. See, it's a good report, Andrew. I did my homework.
Oh, hey, let me tell you. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ahead. No, we can stop.
This is going to be the year of the women's boxing. Look, I think Clarissa Shields is going to take Fighter of the Year, being the first women/male to ever win a 3-division undisputed champion. And I think they're going to get Event of the Year. It's either going to happen in the UK or it's going to happen with Katie Taylor and Serrano over there in New York. They absolutely killed it on the men's boxing this year. The women are putting in, because let's not forget, Mayer also has a Fight of the Year candidate earlier this year on ESPN too. Yep. They are going to dominate these standings, and the way ESPN's been all the first of doing everything, this rolled in perfectly because the women deserve it. Clarissa Shields deserves Fighter of the Year. They deserve Event of the Year. They are definitely, you know what? They are showing that there's still potential when two of the best fight each other, that America will respond. What Serrano and Taylor did over there in New York at least shows us there's potential still here. I definitely think that this is the year of women's boxing.
Joining us from the blimp is Bob, who keeps talking in my ear that there's something that you're failing to miss. Hold on, let me turn it over to Bob in the blimp. That's all the sound effects I have for that moment. All right, Bob. Why are you jabbering me up in my right ear? Listen, you're missing the best point. Bob, have you gotten any closer to Australia? Well, the fact that you're telling me the fight's over and Andrea here is talking about it's, Fight of the Year. What am I going to do? All right. So listen, you're missing the biggest point. You, Andrea, and you, Manuel, you're missing the point. It's harder and harder on my voice as I get older. Listen, I paid those women dick. I mean, literally, I paid them in dick.
Oh my god!
I not even cash.
You're terrible.
I just gave them bags of dicks. That's the best women's boxing. Period. You can sell tickets for dollars, for God's sakes. You pay the girls nothing. They make nothing like the men. They've got no big egos. You know, people are waiting around for nipple slips. It's fantastic. This is the best business model I've ever come up with. Give them a big bag of dick, and they go and beat each other up. And guys just sit there and whack off. We actually provide lotion at the arena. There you go. Which is true. There's a reason why they don't disclose their salaries. At all. At all. I don't even know how some of these girls actually made it to England for the fight. Moving forward, one of my favorite fights, and this is when I discovered for the first time that women don't wear any kind of cut protection, and that's because of the Hungarian chick, which, by the way, that's the one you would definitely do, Miguel.
Okay.
That's the double F-er in the pile, not Price from Great Britain. They don't wear anything. And a couple of them who wear the really skin tight, like biker, like those are like the old dolphin shorts, aren't they? Like, I feel like they're wearing dolphin shorts to the ring. That's a throwback in that age me, but they are little tiny workout shorts. They don't wear any kind of protection for the egg section for low blows, or women just don't hit low, or they just don't care in general. And that is my report of that fight. But yes, definitely pink short. I think she was also wearing a G-string orthon in this fight. Just my theory. Which takes us to our co-main event, and I'm going to. That's the end of my picture collage. That's all I did.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I think the only other thing that I really took a picture of, and we're going to talk about these fights here in a minute. I've actually got video for these. Oh yeah, I got video of it. This is what my day looked like repeatedly, was me making screens that look like this. Trying to watch as many fights as I could simultaneously while watching everything else. We'll come back to you in a second. All right, let's jump into the fights, and let's start with weepy Mikaela Mayer. If you live under a tree, the undefeated Star Olympian who talks some mad action before the fight. Andrew ate his microphone. That's my theory. Mikaela Mayer took on Alicia Baumgardner in a fight that had so much hype that 3 guys had to hold back 2 120-pound women because Mikaela was going to kick her because that bitch stole my hairspray, I guess. It was like one of those. I don't know how much of that was hype, okay? I don't know if it was real or whatever, but I am telling you, Alicia Baumgardner is a straight up hood rat with boxing skills. Like, she did not buy into the hype and came to work. So I'll start with you, Andrew. Are you shocked at the lopsided 3-1 upset?
No, I'm not shocked. I thought it was a very close fight. Alicia pulled it out at the end there. I disagree with you calling her a hood rat, though. I don't know where that came from. She seemed classy. I didn't see anything that would say she wasn't, came from a good household. So she did it. She did her thing. Look, I think me and Miguel told you this girl, she got hot as soon as she won her first title. I mean, she exploded on the internet. I think last night, she helped her career out tremendously, with the victory over her, the way she gutted it out at the end there. You seen Mayer did make a comeback. They both adjusted it in the fight to their advantages, and it was just Baumgardner who got it at the end. So it's real. I think one thing that needs to be talked about, and I'm not taking anything away from the win, but I think one thing that needs to be talked about is the outfit that Baumgardner wore to the ring. Look, now you could say it's
one of the greatest fight plans ever is wearing that skirt with a very small
G-string.
how would you, I don't want to say panties.
Well, it's
what
a
were they?
no, it's a
undergarments?
bikini cut.
We'll say they're
It's
cheeky.
cheeky. We have butt cheek.
Yeah.
Both girls had both. There was a point where Michaela's rode up too. We definitely
It doesn't
had
matter. No,
butt
it
cheeks.
wasn't at the same. It's listen, that little flapping around and her showing her bottom the way it was, and to me it's just a distraction. I don't know if the commission wants to look at that. And I'm being serious right now. I'm not trying to be perverted or anything. And I know a fighter is going to say, "Oh, well, it's for my flexibility." Well, there's other things you can wear where you're not distracting the judges, the guys sitting ringside that are looking up. It's a very hard first 3 minutes, 6 minutes to get through, wondering why one of the fighters wore what she wore to the ring. So I just think that's something the commissions might. Because look, where does it stop? We seen one girl; she likes wearing the bra, right? Who's the big-chested lady, Miguel? You ever seen her? The big-chested fighter loves
Blonde
coming to all. What's her name?
The blonde chick, Bridget.
The blonde chick,
something?
yeah, on DAZN.
Yeah, I forgot Bridges or something. Bridges. Something
Yeah,
like
she
that.
loves Lee. She loves coming to all of her weigh-ins with the
Oh
most.
yeah, with lingerie. She's literally wearing lingerie, dude.
As she
Yeah.
should. What do you guys like? First of all,
No.
none of these women-
Hear me out. Hear
All
me
right.
out. I said it was the greatest fight plan ever. I said that. But I'm talking about on the commission side. I'm talking about on the other corner side. The other promoter that's facing a girl that's doing this kind of thing. Maybe, are they going to look at the rules a little, saying, look, you can wear a Victoria's Secret panties that give you the same flexibility than a bikini bottom. So it's things like that that I think. I just thought it was a little bit. I just don't want it to go any further. I don't want someone to wear a G-string to the fucking ring and proclaim. And I know what you're gonna say, Lee, but you hear my argument.
How do you not think that Michaela's not wearing a G-string? Look at that thing
At
right
the
up her
next
butt.
fight, I know, right? Like, we got to be very delicate
And
when
by
we
the
talk
way,
about
for the
this
record,
section.
didn't Camacho wear the same kind of BS outfit? Like he wore nothing under his little.
No,
his little
yes, yes, but I don't ever remember Camacho's ass hanging out of that outfit. There's a big difference.
You're not looking. I'm
Boom,
sure that if I looked, we
Boom.
could see his
Hey.
hairy ass.
Bam.
boom.
Here it's just more viewable.
That's where I say no more questions, Your Honor. You just said it yourself.
Fair enough. I don't want to get you in trouble yourself. Miguel, did you have any feedback on Alicia Gardner's massive upset?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to call it an upset necessarily. I mean, like I would say massive. I do. If I'm not
In
mistaken, I
boxing, a
think
3-1
Michaela was.
upset's pretty
well,
strong.
Okay, then I guess that's massive because it wasn't like she was, like coming into this fight. At least for people that knew. I mean, we saw what she did to Harper, so it's not like she was coming in here like going off of fucking luck. So she had that right hand, and she landed that right hand. Look at there in the highlights. She landed that right hand several times. Like a few times it came pretty damn close, and she missed. But once she started timing it, oh man! And she came out. She knew. Like, and they mentioned this during the broadcast. She knew that Michaela had the habit of starting slow, so she knew what she wanted to jump on her immediately and get those early rounds. It was the latter half that kind of like sucked for Mayer because she ended up slowing down. She did pick it up towards the middle rounds, but ultimately she did slow down, and there's where Baumgardner came back. So. I don't see it too much of an upset. Regardless, in the betting odds, it was a massive upset. I don't like the fact that she's like, no, fuck that, no rematch. Like, dude, come the fuck on. Like, this is a pretty significant fight. It was a close fight, and it deserves a fucking rematch. If you're gonna be that much of a bitch to not give her a fucking rematch, it's like that sucks. Like that shows. And
That's
look,
hood
we
rat.
can
That's
talk, well,
PBC hood rat stuff.
I mean, she's not PBC, but that's my point. It's like,
No, but
dude, what the fuck? It's a close
I made the
fight.
joke when Andrew said it last night. I go, she clearly signed with the PBC right after this fight because she went full hood rat and did the, oh, it's not strap season. It's strap season. I'm going after the other belt. Why would I want to fight her again?
This is only in regards to her outfit. So this is my issue. Look, if you're gonna wear that, fine. You have all the freedom in the fucking world. This is my problem, and it's a problem that is continuing with chicks, specifically chicks, is that they think they could do whatever the fuck they want and have zero consequences for it. You want to do whatever the fuck you want? Cool. You do understand that you're going to be held accountable for your fucking choices. The second chicks start wearing this shit, I start to what's the word? I no longer take them seriously. Is my point.
Yeah.
Like, you want to
Yeah.
do that, cool, by all means. You want to do all that shit, fantastic. But don't complain later that no one gives a fuck about your boxing when you're showing your ass through the fucking fight. Now, look, I'm a dude. I want to see your titties flop out. Fuck yeah, cool. That's not why I'm gonna watch your fight. But if I want to see your titties,
I
yeah.
am.
If I want to see your ass, cool. It doesn't have to. I'm not gonna tune in to your fights for that, because we all know it's very easy for chicks to get attention. All they got to do is take off their clothes, which is why every time they protest, what's the first thing they do? They take off their fucking clothes. So that's the easy part. I'm not going to praise for someone for doing something easy. We praise people for doing something fucking hard. And for women to be noticed for their boxing is fucking difficult. So when they are, as if they were last night, or with as they were last night with these two fights and the killer ass card that they put on and the dope ass arena that they filled up, like, that's significant. Yes, do that. Don't cheapen it with a fucking outfit like that. Again, I'm not gonna complain. If you're gonna show your titties, cool. But don't fucking cry later that no one gives a fuck about you because of your boxing, when you knew damn well you took the cheap route early in your career and flashed your ass all over the goddamn place. Like, look, you're gonna show your ass, cool, fine, by all means. But don't think that you're going to get away with it scot-free and not have any consequences and then cry about it later. Last night, there was a fucking a bare knuckle boxing event as well that was on pay-per-view, yada yada, right? Dude, these chicks had fucking OnlyFans plastered all over their fucking, their outfits. Like, they all have OnlyFans accounts. It's like, hey, fantastic, put on a great fight, but don't think I'm gonna tune in because you had this shit. Don't think this is gonna get me to pay for your dumbass, spicy content because you got this fucking sponsor. And every chick has one of these. It's like, what the fuck? Like, really? That's the cheap route you're gonna have to take? You don't want to be noticed for your actual boxing skill or bare knuckle boxing ability. You don't want to be noticed for that. You want to get people's attention the way that one chick they were talking about, Andrew, that big titted blonde chick. It's like, really, you're gonna wear this to the fucking weigh-in? Like, you think this is gonna make me want to see you fight? Bitch, this is making me want to see your titties flop out, but I'm not gonna watch your fucking fight. It's like, this has nothing to do with your fucking fight. So that's the, and granted,
Eddie Hearn and everyone always looks so nervous too. Whenever she takes everything
they're
off,
all hell yeah. They're looking away. They're looking at the ceiling. They're looking at the lights at the ceiling. They're just trying to not, because I'm sure they've been caught at a few times. And I'm not gonna say that what Baumgartner's outfit was that risque. It wasn't that much, and I'm not gonna say it wasn't in normal circumstances. If you see that at the beach, it's nothing, right? But this is a boxing fight. To show that much ass cheek, and by the way, she's got a great fucking ass. I'm not gonna say she doesn't have a great ass, because she absolutely does.
Fight topless like the men.
Yeah. You might as fucking well at this point. If you're gonna do
because there's an old saying: if the TV's on, I'm gonna watch it. And there's a reason why that saying is in effect. Men are very distracted, very easily. Right? There's that whole squirrel. Right? It's just something the commission needs to look at. Look, commissions have made rules before about wardrobe, about beards, about area. Mm-hmm. It's just something they might want to. Maybe they don't say. Maybe they say she's the mark. She's the bar. You can't go any further than what she did last night. Boom. Then we're done. But seriously, someone might be bringing in a G-string under one of these garments, and then what are we going to do? Then what does this turn into? And really, if I'm a trainer, I'm more worried about the people that are sitting on the ringside that are the commissioners, the judges. We all need to stay focused on what's going on and not what someone's wearing in the ring.
And keep in mind, the ring is elevated. So the people that are the judges and the fans that are ringside, they're getting like a look at that crack. Like, they're getting a show that they fucking did not expect to see when they paid the ticket. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, really, if we're gonna go that route, come the fuck on, And again, you're gonna do whatever the fuck you want to do, and I'm not gonna, totally cap on Baumgartner because it's not that much of a risque thing. But you're like borderline going in that direction. So it's like, let's bring it back.
We just want to set a bar. We want to set a bar.
And once again,
I watch these fights.
And someone says pantyless was the way to go. What?
And you know what? And look,
now the women's seats are $20,000 each ringside.
Right? Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm thinking from a business model perspective. When I win the $400 million lottery, why wouldn't I set $1 million winner take all topless, wear a skirt with no bottoms boxing tournament? I bet you Michaela's right there. I bet you if there was $1 million purse, she's right there.
And look, and I'm not gonna
let me tell you, I was just gonna throw a joke. They're fighting for a lot less in bare knuckle championships in the UFC, MMA. They're fighting for $1 million. So yeah, you're gonna have people doing whatever you want, Lee. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
that's exactly what I wanted to mention. Also, that's like yes, it was a great card, but it's basically the UFC route. It's they can only stack all these people on one card because they get paid pennies. Let's be real. That's the only reason they're able to get them on. So we can only like we can learn from this to say like, hey guys, look, we can put on a great card, but realistically, the amount of money, the like crazy amount of money that male boxers get, like the top stars, I guess, we're never gonna get a card like this, which is one of the reasons why again they're gonna continue capping on Spence and Crawford, and rightfully so because the fight has been made. But the amount of money on the line for them is fucking astronomical compared to what every one of these women were paid last night. So we can understand why that shit hasn't happened. And back to the outfit, because I want to talk about the outfit a little bit more. This isn't just for boxing. Like if you watch UFC cards, there's a lot of female UFC fighters who have like short shorts, like the bottom of their ass cheeks are hanging out when they're like up against the fence. It's like, dude, why the fuck would they even offer these kind of shorts to women? Like I would think women would be like, what the fuck? Don't be having me wear this shit. But they fucking wear it. They fucking love it, obviously, right? They love the attention. But so it's not just in boxing necessarily. There's a particular female fighters who wear these specific shorts that the UFC offers and to give them. It's like, what the fuck? Like the UFC has what is it, like a uniform basically. It's from this name brand called Venom, and they have to wear this, right? They used to have a deal with Reebok. It's basically the equivalent of the jersey, right? Sometimes jerseys, NFL or NBA jerseys, are made by Nike or Reebok or whoever the fuck. It's pretty much the same thing. So, but they offer them these shorts. They give them these shorts, and a lot of women wear looser fitting shorts, which is fine, right? And some of them are snug. I'm not gonna say they're not, and some that are snug come way high on the thigh where like the bottom of their ass cheek is hanging out. It's like, damn it, I don't like, yes, I'm all for asses. I'm not gonna say I don't want to see that shit, but that's not why I'm fucking watching the fights. Like I don't want to see this while I'm watching the fights. I want to see a good scrap. I want these ladies to be recognized for what they're doing in the cage fighting, not because they're fucking taking off their clothes. From my point.
Okay, I guess I'm the only one who's trying to see what their nipple dimensions are.
You want to see?
Everybody got all pro woke on this team here for this fight.
I knew that was coming, Lee. I knew that.
Pro woke.
No, hey, maybe they're OnlyFans, Miguel. Maybe they're making millions on that. We don't even know about it.
Yeah,
man.
maybe. Yeah,
they made $10,000 the night of the fight. They made freaking $250,000 immediately after going online.
Yeah, by somebody who wants to buy their dirty socks. I mean, that's the reality.
Can you sneeze in a napkin and send it to me?
Yeah. I got no problems with that. I'm jealous of that. How do I make that kind of money? Nobody's buying my snot balls. Like I can't like shoot a snot rocket into an envelope and that there's some group of fans out there.
Can you fucking mail me?
I feel like that's what that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious if that's what our store was for Fight Net Radio. Like, what do we have here? We have Andrew's seat car cover, the one he farts in all day while he's driving around the city. We'll start the bidding at $100,000 on that bad boy.
Yeah, if you get close enough, you can get a hint of coffee.
Right. Coffee and fart. Nothing says hot like coffee and fart.
You're so gross. That's so gross.
Well, let's talk about gross. Savannah Marshall takes on Clarissa Shields. And as I kept reporting throughout this, none of these women, when they put on sports bras, they look like women in sports bras. I felt so bad for Savannah Marshall and her little pancake boobs through this whole fight. Like if one person should have been allowed to wear a bra for the fight, it was Savannah Marshall. Now, if you've seen the fight and you're going, I don't know what you're talking about, go back and rewatch. These things are sitting a quarter of an inch lower than where they technically should be. And they're pressed up against her in this lower position. It looks like somebody took a plum and squished it on her chest right below where her boob would be, which got her dubbed pancake boob for the entire fight.
Lee, can we put your reporting of the fight in my evidence folder for why?
Yeah, for sure. I also think, by the way, they probably deserve... They should be wearing pasties. Almost, Clarissa Shields has some massive nipples that went a popping by the second round.
And instead of having fringe on the side of their shorts, they should have the pasties like strippers do, and just have them like the fringe hanging from their fucking nipples.
Oh, you know what?
You guys
Shout
are
out to
terrible.
anybody who does this at the next women's fight. If you don't come out with a fake G-string as your walkout outfit with dollar bills tucked in, with your OnlyFans shirt on, you are missing a golden marketing opportunity. I'm just putting it out there for everybody. Clarissa Shields beat Savannah Marshall in what Clarissa Shields described as one of the best fights she's ever been in her life. First of all, the first observation I made, why do Clarissa's gloves look way big and marshmallowy? I mean, they look bigger than normal to me. Maybe
Could be
it's
the
just
color.
the color.
Color,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know they
generally
fight
white
with
gloves
bigger
do
gloves.
tend to look bigger.
All right. Well, Clarissa Shields wins again, and she is undisputed, and she is the baddest female on the planet. Joining us on the show with her giant nipples, Clarissa Shields. Hey,
We missed you, Clarissa. Welcome back.
hey. By the way, and you should watch her post-fight interview. My Clarissa is much stronger than my Bob, in my opinion. I'll start with you this time, Miguel. What did we learn this time from Hey?
Well, it's cool that like she got the win back, right? Because this is the Olympic loss that's like haunted her fucking life. She's been wanting to get this rematch for God knows how fucking long. In the process of winning other undisputed titles in different, was it different weight classes? Is it? I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
She's-
three consecutive
there you
weight
go.
classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's monumental. I mean, and you saw her like, and I generally have like an issue with women crying after fights. It's like, this is why I don't want to say this. Sometimes, dudes cry. I'm not gonna say they don't do it, but it's like they fucking cry when it's something significant. And this was significant for her yesterday. So I'm gonna give her like a pass for this one. If you cry over just something stupid, which I see chicks do all the fucking time, it's like, oh, this training camp was so fucking hard. Like, yeah, bitch, that's how it should be. Everyone's training camp is fucking hard. Let me crying because your shit is hard. But anyway, this being a pretty significant one because not only did she become the undisputed champion, she still is fucking undefeated, and she got back a victory from her Olympic days. So it's like, man, killing fucking 10 birds with one stone basically with this fight. And I'm sure like she's been waiting to exhale and let it out for a long fucking time, and she was able to do that yesterday. So it was clear from the jump that Marshall had no power. They mentioned this through the broadcast, but she did. She I think she knew that she wasn't going to be able to hurt Clarissa, so she did her damnedest to push her up against the ropes, and that got her a few rounds, and that was pretty good. She wanted to stay busy. She stayed busy as much as she could, and even if the punches weren't landing as flush, which they really weren't, some were being blocked, she was being busy, and she was doing her best to push Clarissa up against the ropes. But as you can see from these highlights here, whenever Clarissa would end up, swinging hard, because she every so often you see her swinging for the fences, it's like don't overdo it, because you're gonna gas yourself out. But it was, I mean, for fuck's sake, it was actually Marshall the one that looked tired when she went back to her corner. I mean, I'm starting to think, well, I mean, I've had this idea for a while already. Like we should already be doing 3-minute rounds for these women and 12-round championship fights because, like, clearly, they can fucking do it. It's not a matter of them not being able to do it. But nonetheless, it was obvious that Marshall had no power, and she knew it. So the best thing she could do is, keep up the volume of punches and push Clarissa up against the fence. And she did that to the best of her ability, and it wasn't enough. It was a few times where she got hit by Clarissa's right hand that it looked like it kind of stopped her dead in the tracks for a quick second. And she was like, "Oh shit, let me go ahead and check this and be careful." But Clarissa won. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it a close fight. I don't know how close it really was. It seemed as though Clarissa was. Yeah, it seemed as though Clarissa was pretty much in control, but it was really a monumental win for her on so many fronts. It was unifying the division, being the undisputed champion in that weight class, defeating Marshall in this fashion. It would have probably been like cherry on top if she was able to knock Marshall out, but it didn't turn out that way. Nonetheless, that doesn't take anything away from the accomplishment, and you can see like the emotion in her face after the fight. So it was a huge fucking win, and it was a entertaining fight. I mean, just watching the highlights, like they kept busy. I don't know what the punch stats were, but these women were fucking throwing and throwing and throwing. So if nothing else, yeah, granted they may not have the power that men do, but when they throw, and they'll throw like every minute because we are talking about 2-minute rounds and 10-round championship fights, so they can throw for like the whole fucking 2 minutes, and it makes for an exciting fight.
Andrew.
Look, man, I agree with Miguel about the hunger, the getting back a defeat from the Olympics. Clarissa Shields is ready for Hollywood. She comes from a hard place. She had a hard life. She's a 2-time Olympian winner. She's a 3-time undisputed division champ. She's still undefeated. She moved to the MMA, was successful there, at least so far. I know she has a defeat, but she's still successful in the MMA as a crossover. She has all the writings on the wall here for a movie. This fight was awesome. Look, her third weight division is against a legend. Did you guys see that crowd? That wasn't there for Mayer Baumgartner.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't there for Clarissa. When Marshall hit that ring, that place erupted. Those 20,000 fans were there to see their legend, their Olympian, and Sarah Marshall. Is that what her name is? Correct? Savannah Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
That was an epic showdown. Stage. The stage was set. Then the queen dies. She has to wait 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks before she has the plane of the Olympics going on in her head right before she has to face this woman and one of the biggest fights the biggest fight of her life. It's a sold out arena in her backyard. You're going to the UK. You're taking on a woman that is a champion herself. No, this thing was huge. It was a great fight for Shields. I thought she dug it out at the end. Look, was she in the lead? Yes. The point score would tell you that she was landing a lot heavier points than Marshall was, but Marshall was big. And Marshall's physical advantages started playing out late in that fight. It looked like Clarissa started breaking mentally. And like Miguel said, man, this girl, she's tough. She's been through this. She's done it. She dug it out at the end there and started fighting. I haven't screamed for a fight like this in a long time. Me and my son watched it. This was a great fight. At the end, you guys, I was with Miguel. I didn't know if she had it, man. For those judges to give her a 3.4-point lead in Marshall's backyard when they were screaming for her. The only time I told my son I knew the tide had changed was when you could hear Clarissa's hype man the whole 3 minutes. Give that dude an extra bonus check. That dude was in his champ's ear all those rounds. His voice held up where you could hear him over the TV, and that's because Clarissa was making 20,000 quiet. They were all silent. So that was huge. I also told Junior, they showed Ricky Hatton. I told him about the Ricky Hatton fight. When they booed our national anthem on then, we gave it to him. Props to Clarissa Shields for holding it down for America again. They booed our national anthem. We whooped their ass again. That's what happens when you boo our fucking national anthem. Learn from this. You rest of you fighters don't pit these ladies, gentlemen, these boys, girls, they're Olympians, man. They've been defending this country their whole life. Don't boo them when they're in their peak performance. They'll whoop that ass. And that's what Clarissa did. That's what Floyd did. So, no, it was a great fight. I congratulated her after. She is the GOAT. She's one of the best all time. And I think she's fighter of the year this year for boxing overall.
Okay. Turning to the next fight. Before we get to Haney and Kambosos, the Bologna brothers fought and won. There you go. Now, let's turn to Devin Haney putting holes into the side of George Kambosos. Oh,
Skinned him.
Alive.
It was pretty ridiculous. So the rematch went down, and I will say this. It was a much more entertaining fight that I watched all of. Kambosos came in with a brand new style where he kind of wobbles around spastically. I've never seen him really do what he was doing. Like he's got it. It's almost like he had a tick, or it's brand new.
You remember that,
I like it.
Lee,
I like it.
That famous TV show Jerry Lewis was boxing. I think it's Ali. You remember, and he's just all over the place. He's right, left. He's going side to side. That's okay. Right. Well, kind of reminded me of Jerry Lewis last night.
I could be wrong. Maybe this is Kambosos' fighting style to look like he's having an epileptic seizure in the ring.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I probably just don't watch enough Kambosos. Perhaps he's always fought like a spaz. But in the first fight with Haney, he did not fight like a spaz. He stood there and just, basically lost. In this fight, he was in full spaz mode, and he still lost. And in fact, this time around, Haney seemed to be almost pissed off with Kambosos on some level. And it looked like once he knew he had the fight secured, it looked like he was just straight head hunting in the last rounds, trying to make the guy bleed and tear him apart. Like physically, as this fight went on, there are holes in Kambosos. Like they're physical, like he's sprouting leaks on both sides of his head. He just, good God, that jab is just, and he's 23. Can we say this again about Haney? He's 23. He can only get better. He's not even in his prime yet, and he's tearing people up. All right, that's my whole love of Haney, and Kambosos was clearly good for one fighter who he got the belt. This is the story of one fighter who can beat another fighter who could beat another fighter. Okay, we're here now. Haney, maybe Haney sucks, and the only person he will ever look good against is Kambosos. I won't know till he fights his next fight, or goes up in weight as he's talking about doing. So I start this time with you, Andrew. What did you learn from the end of Kambosos' career?
Well, like I thought as soon as all of his nervous energy was gone, that fight was going to go in heavy into Devin Haney's hands, and that's sort of what happened. Look, for the first half of the fight, you could say he brought this nervous energy, and I don't think it was ever working, but I think it did catch Haney a little off guard in the beginning. But once he figured it out, he started peppering him. I mean, the guy was switching right into right hands from Haney. That has to be just ego killer, confidence killer right there. When you're everything you're trying, you're still getting hit with the right hand. It doesn't matter you're right, you're southpaw, you're orthodox, you're coming in from whatever angle. And then as he slowed down, he actually did make a little bit of a stand there in the middle rounds where he was hitting Haney with some good right hands, getting some pop shots. Never dominated, never took over a round, but at least was landing some punches that could maybe break the foundation of Devin Haney. Get something going in a positive in his side, not just a total shutout. But at the end, skills were just too much on Haney's side. He's a better boxer. Kambosos tried, you could say, every game plan that he could think of to try to stay toe to toe with Haney. And while he was able to last 12 rounds, he did not look good. I give him respect for the Spartan-like attitude of bleeding like a madman, getting skinned.
Oh, those aren't condoms he's promoting?
Nah, you know what
I've been
he
waiting.
is.
That's the joke. That's the joke I wrote.
Shield.
By the way, that's the joke I wrote. That's the joke.
That's a very good one, and he went out on his shield. The guy definitely represented Australia last night, but he just skills is not there.
He can't box.
He can't box with Devin Haney, okay? Then styles make fights, and Haney's style might be one of the best in the division. Like we seen later on that night, one defeat, one man shouldn't stop your career. You should move on. Kambosos, because he's had two hard fights with Devin Haney, definitely deserves a comeback fight, maybe even two of them. And you know what? If ESPN and Top Rank don't want it, I'm sure Australia will do fine with him and packing some little arena and getting it on TV over there. Let him get his confidence back and then bring him back to a very stacked lightweight division. If they fight him right away against one of the other top, say Top Rank uses him on one of their other up-and-comers, you don't want him to take 3 defeats back to back by nothing but Top Rank fighters, and his career will be over at that point. At least right now, he has some good momentum going in his career. Yes, they're 2 defeats, but they're the biggest stages he's ever been in. He went 24 rounds with one of the best fighters in the world right now from Oakland, California, Northern California. I like to put that out there, and you got to come back and just give it one more run. And then, so that's what I have on the Haney Kambosos.
Okay, Miguel. Additionally, I'll add this. If you don't know, over his shoulder on the right side is the baby mama hoe row that Haney brought with him, which
Jesus, that's the ratchet hoe, the ratchet row, the ratchet.
Were they not ratchety?
Oh fuck yeah, they were. You best believe they were.
That was straight up Oakland hood. That was Brad.
You guys, you
Keep
guys
up the
just
hood,
love
no boy.
getting those declines. I swear to God.
Number one in
Ay,
Egypt,
ay.
baby. I'm just giving the fans what they want in Egypt. So Miguel, what did you,
You better start putting in credentials for Dubai then. We better get the same love in Dubai.
I'm looking in the wrong place. Can you imagine? I send in credentials for Dubai. Can we send you a jet?
Yeah,
We've been going about this all wrong, guys. We've been going about this all wrong. We
I'm
should be
staying
going
at the
to-
airport. I'm just going to try to get that gold bar the whole time, you guys.
time.
At the
Where's
airport.
Andrew? His hand is stuck in the box with the gold bar. He won't let go. He's like a raccoon. He's just holding the gold bar and he can't get his hand out. I told him to let go of the bar. He wouldn't let go of the bar. He said, just come back and get me on the way out of town.
Closest I'll ever be.
Oh my God. Like a raccoon. Once you hold on to, I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to let go. I've got it. I'm not going to let go. Miguel, what did you think of Devin Haney putting an end to the Cambosos Australia saga?
Fantastic win by Haney. I mean, fucking fantastic. It almost reminded me of like Bernard Hopkins in Trinidad, like the way he was able to land those fucking right hands, and they were lead right hands, by the way, and as you see here in the highlights, man, and total props to Cambosos for continuing to come forward, because he wasn't going to back down. There were a couple of times where it looked like he was hurt and he took a couple of back steps, but really for the most part he was trying to come forward. I give Cambosos a lot more credit for trying something different. Whether or not it worked, that's another story. Obviously it didn't, but my point is he tried something different, which he needed to, really. He needed to do something different. He couldn't have done the exact same game plan or use the same game plan as the first fight, because obviously it didn't work out. So he's going to try to do something different. And whatever this like going back and forth, switching between Orthodox and fucking Southpaw was, I gave him the first round on doing that alone. And I think that actually confused Haney for at least a round, enough to win that round. Soon after that, Haney caught on and he started picking them apart. So it didn't seem like I wasn't really sure. There were a few times, actually several times, it was so spazzy on Cambosos' part. He was switched to Southpaw, and we can all, I guess, safely assume that he was trying to give Haney different angles, right? But that's just kind of usually why that happens. But he did nothing with it. He would switch Southpaw, not throw a punch, and then he'll switch back to Orthodox. Like, what the fuck was that for? Like, you just basically switch your feet for no fucking reason. You accomplish nothing by doing so. If you're gonna switch to Southpaw, at least throw a couple of punches and then maybe switch back to Orthodox and then throw some more from a different angle. That would be at least somewhat more effective, because you're throwing punches from different angles, and maybe that will do something. But he didn't even do that, because it just looked like he was bouncing all over the goddamn place. And a few times he like stumbled into the ropes because he was doing that, and that he missed Haney. I wasn't impressed with Haney's clinching again. He likes to clinch. Yeah, part of it was Cambosos' own fault, because he came lunging in and fucking really Haney had no choice but to grab him. But it's the clinching. The clinching always bugs me. And Timothy Bradley mentioned it earlier. It's like, it's just part of boxing. It's part of boxing. Well, it shouldn't be. Because the referee, like, it's not allowed. You're not supposed to be clinching. What happens when you clinch? The referee splits you up, right? You're not supposed to be clinching. You're supposed to be throwing punches. And the fact that they use that as strategy and the referee lets them get away with it, it pisses me off. Like, can you imagine something else that's like not that's against the rules that is allowed and is quote unquote strategy, like a fucking low blow? You're getting hit, you're whooping the guy's ass, and then the guy kicks you in the nuts or punches you in the nuts, and you're like, oh, great ring IQ, fantastic, oh, great strategy, oh, you slowed him down with the, like, what the fuck? No, don't hold him, punch him back. And this clinching thing irks me. But to Haney's credit, it wasn't as much. Yes.
And one thing I would give Cambosos credit for, did you see him using his head like a helmet?
Yes.
Whenever he hey, that's one way to get a guy off of you. You got 2 warnings before a point, and I loved how Cambosos was testing those warnings, man, because he want to cheat, we'll cheat too. And I would rather my fighter use his head than a low blow in that situation, because the head-to-head contact is being initiated by the guy who's bringing the other guy in. So I love Cambosos was doing a very veteran move there by putting his head first.
Yeah, and a few times I even saw him like punch to Haney's hips. He was trying to slow him down however way he could, So I props to Cambosos. He knew he wasn't going to be able to outbox him, so he's like, "Fuck it, I will try something else." So I like the fact that he tried something else. Unfortunately, it still didn't work, and Haiti, caught onto him and basically beat his ass even worse. Yeah, he got fucked up even more,
and really fucked up in this fight.
He did something different. It would have been something else if he would come to the fight with the exact same game plan. It's like, what the fuck, dude? What did you train for the last however many weeks of your camp? Did you not do anything different?
True.
But he did. Yeah, it didn't exactly work out, and he got a worse ass whooping. So be it.
I just want to know who teaches the spaz method. I mean, it was really
you know what? He fight
that
if you
twitchy, shaky, weird shit that he was like. Where did
Zab Judah did it in one of his. Who was he facing when he started putting his hands out like he was working the mitts with the guy? Oh, I don't know if it was Floyd or someone else, but Zab did the whole nervous reaction thing in one of his fights too. Yeah, it's never a good look when you start going.
It looks like it looks like he came to the ring strung out on meth. Like he fired himself up in the back, was smoking meth, and just ran. And then it just kind of ran out of meth gas. But if you watch him even in the 11th, there are like moments where it comes back, like the meth kicks in again. And he starts to do the nervous shake. And all the time he's walking back to the corner, like every time he walked back to the corner, he's like trying to get the blood out of his eyes. He looks like a guy who smoked a lot of meth, came out, that was the plan. And then he had moments where it like shot through his system. And then he looked like the walk of shame going to his corner going, all right, the meth was a bad plan. It was a bad
He was the only one. In the beginning, he was the only one that thought it would work too. His whole corner was like, "Man, he's smoking too much. He's not supposed to fight this way."
You got to pace yourself.
You got
to pace yourself.
He was walking back to his corner with his face bloody as shit. He looked like a fucking meth head, right? Who owed drug dealers money, and they came to whoop his ass to collect. They're just like, yeah, whoop his ass, and he's like,
already nodding his head after the fight.
Yeah.
This is one of the worst shows ever. Oh, meth head getting beat up by a drug dealer, girls pasties. This is terrible. We're going nowhere.
By the way, I just noticed this on Haney. You can purchase. Apparently, he's on OnlyFans. You can purchase his jockstrap and cup for those interested, and see Ho Road, on that page as well. All right, let's turn it over to the PBC to clean up our night. Over at the PBC, they had a bunch of people fighting that you really don't care, nor do you. This is the upset, though, right, Miguel? This is where Russell got executed pretty well.
Yeah, he did quite well.
While his corner repeatedly told him as he was executed. Is he the one who had the corner kept telling him, "You're losing the fight"?
Yes, yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, they needed to tell him that. They needed to tell him that because he was,
They were selling it on PBC. The Fox guys are like, it was like Lennox Lewis or Joe. It might have been Goosen who said it. He goes, "That's great strategy. It's great strategy." We've eliminated one of the Russells. If you're just wondering, there are 6 of them, and apparently most of them box. I learned that throughout the fight. They're all named Gary, which is ridiculous. And there are 6 of them. This was Gary number 6, and we just eliminated that cyborg. Go back and watch the highlights. Let's turn it over now to Ezekiel/Jebediah Plant, who showed up as a Quaker, I guess. I don't dig the beard thing. Like, that's clearly he's been in the field plowing the South 40. He took on Anthony the Dog Durrell. The highlight of this fight is somewhere in the middle. Just as we're starting the fight, they were talking about the super middleweight division and who the players were, and they actually had the audacity of putting Durrell's face in the middle of Canelo and Benavidez and everybody else, saying that Durrell was a player. And then the very next slide was showing his age with a little note that said, survivor of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. All right, so you just told me that this guy's in the middle of the superweight division with guys like Canelo. He's recently a cancer survivor, which definitely means he's been through that whole sequence. He's 39 years old. I wasn't holding a lot of faith on the Dog, and or to qualify this for Jebediah here with that beard's got to go, bro. Beard's got to go. Period. It's starting to do the curl up, and it's just too much. Just too much. Period. And the action started out rather fast and furious, and then it all stopped. By the way, the fact that Fox is putting clips up, look how quick the clips are changing, by the way. But by the way, here's a note. If they're showing more of the time in each round, you might think that that was a better fight. You would be correct. When your highlights are literally guys in the introductions and they're longer than the actual fight sequences.
That's hella funny. That's hella funny.
Dude, how am I the only one? By the way, I love this. You don't know me enough to hate me. And then his t-shirt after the fight said, now you do. Over Jarrell, dude. You're taking... I'll say it again. Who has Caleb Plant fought that he thinks this highly of himself? And that beard, bro, it's got to go. All you need is a man bun. But instead, he's actually losing his hair on the back. He's getting like the little Friar Tuck's patch on the back. So watch how quick this changes. This is the first round. Okay. That looks like it would be a great round. Oh, it's over. Was that it? Wait, I blinked. I blinked. Wait. That looks like a tremendous first round. Yeah, that's awesome. That was round 2? Wait. Go back to round 1. Wait, how are we at round 3 already? This is the story of the fight. For those of you who haven't watched it, I was convinced that they were trying not to hit each other for the first 3 to 4 rounds. And then, like, when they heard the clack on the board, they just immediately ran over to each other and threw as quick as they could. And that was the end of the round.
Start fighting.
Yeah, they just, like, that was like the ring bell. They walked around. They paced each other. Nobody came in.
Sad.
Nobody did anything. Right? And then you'd hear, right? And boom, they jump on each other. And then bing, that's the end of the round. And by the way, these highlights are the actual fight. I mean, you could actually splice these highlights together and cut out them just standing around. And, you know, Caleb's got that arm circular thing, like he's always ready to throw that right hand. He threw it. It just took a long time to get there to see it. So I will start with you, Miguel. Oh, by the way, Caleb Plant knocked out Anthony Durrell in one of the worst knockout fights I've ever.
No, hey Lee, what I was gonna tell you, there was a lot of booing. I think that's why they couldn't keep those highlights going, dude. They're booing a good portion of this fight.
They had no action. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of each round was these guys walking around in the circle. Yeah, the wrestling and they behaved like they had bad blood, but nobody. Yeah, see that? Rewind that. I need my Wonkastrator to really represent. That's what the fight looked like. That's what all of the fight looked like. I am now replaying the bulk of what this fight looked like, just right here. That's what the fight looked like. Yeah. This big, what is this pausing thing? Good God. No action. No action. I can see why Canelo's so confident in this division. Nobody throws any punches. They just stand around. What did you think of Caleb, Miguel?
Well, besides his beard of Judaism, he had this
Jebediah. Just refer to him as Jebediah.
The Jebediah Plant. There was so little action in the fight that they went as far as to talk about his shoes and his clothing that he had made. They were in the Halloween spirit. Basically, they were Freddy Krueger themed. He's like doing the shovel thing, like he's doing the fucking Tito Ortiz thing that he used to do. Yeah. It was a spectacular KO, spectacular ending to a very mediocre fight.
But we had to wait a long time.
We did. I mean, I was
talk about a ride.
I was more enthralled by his fucking shoes and his outfit than the fight itself. This fight would probably have made more sense prior to Plant's fight with Canelo. Like when we say like, who the fuck has people fought to get a big payday? This would have meant something back then, and even maybe a year before, because we've talked about this countless times. Like why hasn't Plant fought fucking Benavidez or these Durrells or anything like that? Well, it's happening now after his after his L, and now that the Durrell doesn't mean shit really at this point. But hey, he's got himself a victory. I like the fact that he's back. The fight was basically a Plant type of fight. If you watch some of his old fights, this is basically how his fights go. Although usually they do go the full 12 rounds, but it's great that he's back. I like the fact that he didn't like call it a day or call it a career after his Canelo payday, and he's coming back to try to, I don't know, make some noise or make another splash. Cool. I'm all down for that. Please don't go away. We still want to see you fight fucking Benavidez if it ever happens, but let's not wait till your next loss before you fight somebody like Benavidez. Let's not fucking, let's not wait for your next, major payday before you do that. It was a great KO. I don't know if they show the KO in the highlights.
They won't. It's too aggressive for YouTube, so I completely understand.
But it was great. It was like a double left hook, basically. Like he did a left hook to the body, then he came upstairs, and they both traded left hooks, and it was his that landed on Durrell, and Durrell went crumbling down like a sack of potatoes, and he was down for a hot minute before they stood him up. And he, when he was awake, when he got him up, he knew what happened. It's like, oh fuck, he kind of understood he was knocked the fuck out, and he wasn't exactly in the mood to do interviews, so he basically booked it from the ring afterwards. So understandably, Durrell isn't exactly in the best mood to do interviews after the fight after getting knocked out like that. But nonetheless, it was a great win. He's back in the win column for Caleb, and really, that's really I don't know what his next step is here. I would hope that it would be another, I want to say a top dude in the weight class. Let's hope that shit happens. If it doesn't, well, we're back to these PBC fighting other stablemates and possibly going 12 rounds, because that's had this not happened, we can assume the fight is going to go to the 12th round and go the full distance as PBC fights tend to do. But hey, great knockout. It was a nice what is it, a highlight reel type KO over on an opponent who's on the way out anyway. Great, I guess.
Andrew?
I see Andre Durrell possibly in his future, the brother. Look for him to be fighting the brother. I have no confidence in Plant fighting Benavidez. Hopefully it happens before a year from now. I think that's when he fought Canelo, was almost a year ago. That seems to be the PBC ways. These guys have one fight and then they disappear for 12 months, maybe even longer. So no confidence in Plant, no confidence in his future. I didn't care about the win. The win was, that's who we had winning the fight. The fight was boring. The fans were booing. It's cool that you landed one left hook and knocked him out late in the fight. That's cool. One punch does not deserve pay-per-view or what those people were paying for those seats out there, and the performance they gave. I think it went right around the lines of, these guys are all friends. Yes, the left hook finally got there, but there's something else to be said when it's being reported that 2 minutes and 30 seconds was going by without significant combos being thrown. These guys were not chess players. These are not, oh, I got everything on the line here. I've got so much money. I got to play it careful. Come on. Durrell should have been fighting for his life. He wasn't. He was in there getting a check. Caleb Plant has the character of asking opponents how he's doing during the fight. Hey, we look good, huh? Oh, you're good. I'm good. This is a real good fight.
It's great.
What? Yeah. Fuck is this? So no, it did not deserve pay-per-view. No, I don't care about the knockout.
Or the co-main event spot. It's a co-main event on a $75 pay-per-view.
Which takes us, good segue to our main event of the evening. Where do I begin with this one-round fiasco? I will give my feedback, of course, first, because nobody will pay attention. First of all, Deontay wore a scaled-down costume. That was very smart. He didn't want to gas himself out before the fight. He came in at 214 pounds, and trust me, he looks tiny next to Helenius. And then he throws a 1-inch punch that knocks out Robert Helenius. By the way, I've watched this thing like the Zapruder film repeatedly. There isn't enough room for that punch to have done that much damage unless somebody hit him with a sledgehammer on the chin before the fight. Like he had a broken jaw connected to the actual nerve that actually shuts down your brain and knocks you out to make you look that way. Deontay has never thrown a punch like that from that angle. He's never thrown one that close that's knocked someone out. He usually has to release that entire arm to get his punch off. This fight, by the way, started off like every other heavyweight fight. There was not a whole lot of anything going on. And then the most disappointing part, Deontay actually was very human after the fight and talking religion and peace and love and joy. And here it comes. By the way, they jumped ahead because there was nothing else that happened in the first 2 minutes
Once
of this
again,
fight.
booing. Yeah.
And then boom.
There was light booing going on in the first round.
I'm just not buying this knockout. Sorry. I'm not. He did the whole thing, and yeah, I know. Yeah, you know, because you paid him. You know, because you paid him. I know. He actually said, I know. Yeah, you know. Watch. I know. Watch right here. I know.
And then that's Sam
I paid
Watson
him.
being like, yeah, we paid that guy. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's being humble about it. That's why, yeah, sure. Do a little Bombsy squad in my Brooklyn. They tried to convince me that his win over Sturvine meant something. Dude's fought one real legit heavyweight and he lost to him arguably 3 times. I mean, everyone else in the division has been so cherry picked for this guy. I don't think
need Wilder. We need him. He brings entertainment to the heavyweight division. So
yeah, but why? Look, he hit him with the palm of his glove, no less. Like,
well, he
watch
always
this.
hacks like that. He always hacks
I
like that.
realize, but look how close he is for this punch. I mean, it is really. Come on.
Well, it's also Helenius coming in. It's almost like that,
Yeah,
you know,
walked
Pacquiao,
right into
Marquez, he walked into
Yeah.
it. So it isn't any, like, if you look at the punch, it landed kind of like on his nose. Like that'll mess you up. Like, you'll go down. I don't know if you'll go down like that, but, you know, he goes down and, you know, he does smack his head off the canvas. So
He
you know,
pulls a
that-
full Oscar
We
De La Hoya.
also-
I'm saying it
Lee.
right now. Yeah.
now,
Go ahead,
Lee,
Mike.
we also got to add into there. Helenius has 4 defeats in his career. 3 of them come by knockout. He's been knocked out 2 other times in his career by Johan Dulapis, which was a PBC fighter for a very long time. Did a lot of undercard fights. Usually, always gotten beaten. He knocked out Helenius, and then Gerald Washington, who's another PBC stable fighter, someone who's kind of a stepping stone, was able to knock out Helenius. So really, Helenius going into this fight, look, the biggest factor on this fight, what we talked about, was the mental stability or where he was mentally, Deontay Wilder. If he was going to come back with the killer instinct, come back wanting to fight, or was he coming back for a paycheck? Well, you can't take too much from a fight where 3 punches were landed and one of them knocked the dude out cold. His power, still there. But was he tested? Did we learn anything about him mentally or what's going to happen when a guy the size of Helenius was going to be able to take his punch and land some back? None of those questions were answered. All we know right now, Deontay Wilder still has one of the biggest right hands in the heavyweight division. So that's a win for them. But anything else, you really can't. Even the knockout, you know, Helenius, this is not new. He's been stopped 2 other times by lesser opponents. Washington and Dulapis, however you say his last name, are nowhere in the category of Deontay Wilder. So once again, not shocked that he knocked out Helenius. Last night was more about the mental strength of Deontay Wilder to see if Helenius was going to be able to withstand the punches, because I believe we even said the guy has no defense. In the Kawanaki fight, we seen that he was standing there and trading and taking a lot of punches right off his chin. Could he do that against Deontay? Answer's no. But that's as far as I go on grading this fight. Deontay's right hand is huge, and he's still someone that we need in boxing because of his character he brings.
Did we know that he shuts his eyes when he throws that punch?
Oh, of course. But I've always told you that dude shuts his eyes so much, Lee.
What the hell? I've never seen it so like.
He gets away from me because he's 6'7", dude. But yeah, he does that a lot. He does it a lot.
Bombsy squad in the house. Now he's back, Andrew. So you're saying it's a good thing that we've got the bomb squad thinking they're back.
Hey, listen.
By the way,
He's got-
Anthony Joshua kills him. kills him.
I'm not. I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee he doesn't knock out Joshua in the same manner that he just did Helenius. Joshua's got no chin. He got no.
But he also
listen,
has
not
way
only
mad
does he
boxing
have a
skills.
chance, his mental stability, I don't think is there either. He gets hit by Wilder and gets shook. He might not be good for another 6 minutes. So Wilder right now, this guy, him and Malik Scott, seriously, they need to go back. They need to work the deal out with Al Heyman to get Andy Ruiz immediately. No freaking
Usyk should be on the phone right now going, this is the fight I want.
No way. No way. You take Andy Ruiz's fat ass, you put him on the ropes and end his night. Then you fucking take on Anthony Joshua. Let Anthony Joshua get one fight while you're fighting Ruiz, and then they set up that fight. Deontay could seriously make, what, 80 million again without even fighting?
He's talking about 9 fights, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to face Usyk and Tyson Fury, and you're making this much money. Pay-per-view, both of these fights, Ruiz and then Anthony Joshua is a great ending to Wilder's career. Once again, I believe he's 35 himself.
Miguel.
Our king is back, ladies and gentlemen. Our
How did it rate on the scrap? How did it rate on the scrapometer?
I just bent the knee. Miguel, I just bent the knee.
You just what? Oh,
I just bent the knee.
Our king is back. It registered on the scrapometer because it was basically a tough man competition. If you ever watch old school tough man,
that's what it looked like. Where they fight with their palms up.
Yeah,
like people who don't know how to box.
And I believe that they displayed this stat that said Deontay Wilder threw a total of 3 punches, or landed a total of 3 punches, and that is the fewest landed in a knockout win. So he's got something to be proud of, I suppose. We knew, like to what Andrew was saying, we knew that Helenius wasn't exactly the best defensive fighter. He's there to be hit, and he absolutely was hit last night. So unfortunately, we learned nothing new. We already knew that Wilder had that right hand. We already knew he can knock people out with that right hand. So it is not like we learned anything new. The whole point of this fight was to see where he was mentally and in his confidence. We did not find that out for shit. Like Helenius didn't test him at all. If Wilder jumps right into an Usyk fight, that is the most terrible thing he could possibly fucking do, because you best believe Usyk was going to test that motherfucker. You best believe he's going to test his resolve. He's going to test his confidence. He's going to test where he's at mentally. And we don't need that right now, at least not in Wilder's case. So great, he got himself a great, went back to this kind of feels like the Tyson is back kind of deal when he comes back and he fights fucking Buster Mathis Jr. on Fox. It's like, oh shit, he's back, boom boom, now we got Tyson back, right? This is the similar thing here with Wilder. Again, unfortunately, we did not see where the fuck he was at. However, American boxing fans can, heavyweight boxing fans can at the very least have a sigh of relief that this happened, and specifically PBC, Al Heyman, I'm sure they are like, whoo, thank God this fucking happened. You can hear the sigh of relief coming out of Al Heyman's fucking ass at this point. PBC is alive for another year at least because of this. Right. So they're on their fucking deathbed, and that fucking like thing is about to fucking deadline, but they're alive for a little bit longer. This was the defibrillator that they needed for a tad bit longer to see how much longer we can keep PBC afloat. But unfortunately, it was a great highlight reel KO, fantastic. We have a highlight KO highlight reel type of KO in the co-main event and the main event. That's something to be said about it. It has to count for something, but ultimately the fights didn't prove jack shit. Specifically this one here with Wilder. It sucks that we didn't get to see it, but yes, this sets Wilder up for a great couple of fucking fights, coming up. If he can get with somebody, or if hell, if he can get fucking that Kalvanowski dude, I don't know if he eventually retired or not, but get his ass in here. Fucking why not? He's gonna be able to take a better punch maybe, and he'll be able to maybe push Wilder a little bit harder than Helenius did. So, because we're gonna need to see that. We can't put Wilder up against a top dude who's gonna test him to that degree. He needs to be tested a little bit mentally. I'm saying again, mentally, he needs to be tested a little bit. I'm not even sure if Ruiz is the right dude, because Ruiz will fucking throw. Ruiz will throw and he'll swing, and maybe that's too much of a leap. I don't know. But as far as name recognition and quote unquote worthy of a pay-per-view type of price, yes, it would have to be Ruiz. It has to be him. But if he's going to go, and Andy Ruiz. So, but if we're gonna go through someone like Kawanowski or some shit like that, like please put it for free on fucking Fox or I don't know what else, Showtime or something like that at the very least. But if he wants to jump already to the deep end, or at least in that deeper end, yes, it has to be Ruiz. Who else?
Well, certainly we're going to find out because they'll know their pay-per-view numbers, and we'll see if they make that mistake again when they've got a moneymaker.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, Andrew.
Lee, I totally agree with you. When you paused it on that one picture, that is one of the ugliest knockout blows ever. To say that was, hey, this is what I always go back to when I talk about these are the hardest punchers in the world, man. These guys are blessed with certain type of power that normal people just don't have. That right hand, that's the right hand that'll knock you out in the club, in the bathroom line at a Raider game, in the snack bar line. Like, he doesn't need a lot of room right there, Lee, and you're out like a stretcher too. That boy looks like he's dead. That's a pretty significant power.
It was a hack. It was a hack, basically. He hacked him down. It was like one of those like Andre the Giant chops on your chest kind of deal. That's pretty much what it was. And it was with like half closed, eyes closed. So again, it shows that he has a power. The fucked up part is that we learned nothing new. Yeah, he's confident, right? Yeah, he got his a little bit of confidence back. Fantastic, great, that's good. But that test is where he's mentally at. Well, when he gets punched in the face, if somebody like Ruiz punches him in the fucking face, we'll see where he's at that point. And I don't know if we want to have somebody hit him in the face like AJ or something like that, or someone that's fucking or Usyk, obviously, even though Usyk isn't necessarily known as a power puncher in the heavyweight division, but to land on Wilder as much as Usyk would, or AJ for that matter, I'm not sure if that seems like too much of a leap at this moment, because we need to see where he's at right now. We saw where he was at. I mean, and to what Lee was saying earlier, how he hadn't fought anybody. He did. He beat Ortiz. That's something. And when he beat Stavern, it was when
everybody
Stavern was
else is
somebody.
also beating Ortiz now as well.
I mean, now, right now, after those fucking losses. But even at the time, Stavern wasn't that bad of an opponent. Yeah, now again, the rematch, it wasn't the same. But he fought somebody, and those little mini tests is what he needs right now. And that mini test could be in the form of Ruiz. He cannot jump to the deep end so quick.
There you go. And that's this week's Fight Net Radio.